The warehouse always looked innocent at dawn. Clean aisles, neat pallets, a few forklifts parked like loyal dogs waiting to be unleashed. You could almost believe everything was in order. Almost. But when you've been around as long as I have, you learn that inventory is like a poker game. Most of the truth is hidden under the table.
Inventory control? Two words that decide if you're in business or just playing pretend. You can talk about innovation all you want. You can throw around buzzwords, digital twins, supply chain visibility, blockchain traceability. But if you don't know what you've got and where it is, you're dead before the hand's dealt.
What is inventory control? It's the unglamorous, relentless discipline of knowing your stock, down to the last nut, bolt, and carton. It's tracking every movement, every transaction, every adjustment. It's about having one version of the truth, and making sure that truth isn't just a polite fiction. Inventory control doesn't get the headlines. It doesn't win awards. It's like the bones in your body. Quiet, invisible, absolutely essential. You don't think about them until they break. And when they do, the pain is instant.
I remember a cosmetics distributor in Dallas. Family run, been around 30 years. On paper, they were flush, inventory valued at $14 million. But I'd been called in because their cash flow was circling the drain. They blamed the market, the economy, online competition. But when I walked the aisles, I saw the real problem. Layers of outdated counts and optimistic assumptions.
The labels were faded, the bins dusty. Some SKUs hadn't moved in 2 years. When I cross-checked their ERP against what was on the shelves, the numbers were off by 28%. 28. You could feel the warehouse manager's stomach drop when I said it out loud. Why does this matter? Because your inventory is more than a list, it's a promise. A promise to customers that when they order, you'll deliver. A promise to your balance sheet that your assets are real. A promise to your team that their work isn't wasted.
When you break that promise, you pay. Not just in dollars, in trust, in credibility, in the slow corrosion of a company's confidence.
What's the impact? Start with cash. If your counts are wrong, you overorder. You tie up working capital in product that doesn't move. You build warehouses to store ghosts and duplicates. Then you discover you can't fill orders because the items you actually need aren't there.
I watched a food service distributor learn this the hard way. They spent $500,000 expanding freezer capacity because the system said they were out of frozen entrees. Turned out, most of that missing stock was mislabeled in another facility. By the time they figured it out, they'd borrowed against their credit line and laid off a third of their staff to pay for inventory that never existed.
People like to think technology will save them. Barcode scanners. Cloud-based systems. AI-powered forecasting. But tools are only as strong as the habits behind them. You can buy the best software in the world, but if your culture shrugs off accuracy, the system just automates the lie faster.
Inventory control isn't about gadgets. It's about respect. For the numbers, for the process, for the customer who trusts you to get it right.
Think about the ripple effect. One bad count triggers a backorder. That backorder costs you expedited freight. That freight eats your margin. The customer gets tired of excuses and starts sourcing elsewhere. Meanwhile, you're left holding obsolete stock nobody wants, wondering where it all went wrong.
I once had a warehouse manager look me in the eye and say, "Close enough is good enough." I wrote that on the top of the audit report, because it was the moment I knew they'd stopped caring. When you stop caring, it's only a matter of time before you stop mattering.
Inventory control is vigilance. The quiet, unheralded work of making sure reality matches the record. Every single day.
Years later, I ran into the same manager at a trade show. His company was out of business. He said it was the competition. But I knew the truth. The ledger never lied. It just waited for everyone else to catch up.
I've seen companies build empires on tight inventory discipline, small businesses who beat the giants because they never let numbers slip. I've also seen multi-million-dollar operations implode because they believe their own reports without ever walking the aisles.
Don't let optimism write your numbers. Optimism is what you sell to the customer. Inside your warehouse, you want pessimism. You want skepticism. You want a cold-eyed view of what's actually there.
The lesson is simple. Respect the count. Question the count. Validate the count. Because the moment you stop, you start losing, and the losses rarely show up right away. They build, quiet as mold, until the damage is too big to hide. If you remember nothing else, remember this: inventory control isn't a project. It's a culture. It's a daily ritual. It's the difference between a warehouse that pays its bills and a warehouse that becomes a cautionary tale.
Reflection prompts. When was the last time you verified your most critical SKUs in person? What percentage variance are you willing to tolerate, and why? If an auditor walked in tomorrow, would your numbers match your floor?